All right, guys, we are back. Good evening, good morning, or good afternoon. As always, it is so great to see you. And friends, welcome to Photography Talk episode 61. Now, the biggest news of last week was announced by Sony with its new flagship camera, the A1. Now, if you haven't heard about the specs of this thing, get ready to be impressed. Now, in other news, 2020 saw camera sales volume fall for the 11th year straight, but Fujifilm's new GFX100s medium format camera is a hot ticket so far for 2021. Now, we're going to be discussing all of these stories in just a minute, but first, I gotta thank you very much for tuning in and watching this video. Now, if you've dropped by here before, welcome back. If this is your first time to the channel, hey new friend, it's great to see you. If you aren't yet subscribed to the channel, well, go down there and hit that little subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. You see, we have monthly giveaways as well, and you have to be subscribed in order to be eligible to win one of these suckers. So there's a little incentive to hit that subscribe button down below. Now, on to this week's news. Kicking things off, Sony unleashed the A1. Now, last week, Sony unveiled their new flagship camera, the 50 megapixel A1. In addition to a high-resolution sensor, it comes with a ton of other features, not the least of which is the 30 frames per second shooting with the electronic shutter. So, how does Sony pull off this combination of resolution and speed? It's the combination of the stacked sensor, which has high-speed processing circuit, and two Bianzi XR processors. But the goodies don't stop there. The A1 has 759-point autofocus system with real-time eye tracking for humans, animals, and birds. You get 5-axis image stabilization, 15 stops at dynamic range, and a 9.44 million dot EVF. Now, on top of that, the A1 can shoot up to 8K video at 30p and 4K video at 120p. Let's call a spade a spade. I think it's pretty clear that this camera is Sony's answers to the R5, more like a good right hook. Now the question is, which is the best? Stay tuned, more on that later this week. Jumping over to Luminar. Luminar AI gets its first update. Now, as you know, Luminar AI came out late last year and had quite a handful of rave reviews, but now we're seeing the first major update to this software. The new update simplifies the edit panel to make it easier to access. The edit tools are now color-coded to distinguish between the Pro, Portrait, Creative, and Essential toolkits. Now, additionally, you can use the left and right arrows to find your way through templates. And of course, templates are suggested for you based on the content of the image, and the navigating through them was a bit difficult before the update. The Enhance tool is also the first thing that you see when you open up the edit list. This includes the Accent AI and the Sky Enhancer AI filters, which are really handy for making quick yet very impactful changes to your photos. Now, when you take a deeper dive into the software, you're going to see there are a handful of other improvements and bug fixes that make Luminar AI an even better option for post-processing as well. So if you are a Mac user and want to update, which is free, just click on the Luminar AI in the top menu bar and select check for updates. Window users, well, simply click that Luminar AI in the corner and choose help and then check for updates. It's really that easy, guys. If you don't have Luminar AI yet, check the description below for a link to go download it. Next, CIPA confirms that 2020 sucked for camera companies. Yeah, and in news that really did not surprise absolutely no one, CIPA, the Camera and Imaging Products Association, revealed in its final sales report for 2020 that sales numbers in volume were down. Now, in fact, 2020 was the 11th year in a row that camera sales declined. Man, even if the pandemic hadn't hammered the camera companies, sales would have likely still been down. Now, China was the only market to not see a drop in sales volume. However, Asia as a whole just saw 54% of total sales volume for mirrorless cameras compared to 2019. DSLRs came in at 46.9% of year-over sales volume. China was the only market to not see a drop in sales volume. However, Asia as a whole saw a 54% of total sales volume for mirrorless cameras compared to 2019. DSLRs came in at just 46.9% year-over-year sales volume. Now, fixed lens cameras were 52.5% of sales volume compared to 2019, while DSLRs were at 53.4% sales volume from the previous year. However, there was some positive news, specifically for mirrorless cameras. Volume was down, friend, but the value for mirrorless cameras was still up due to the large part of success of cameras like the EOS R5 and the R6. Now, what this means is that people that enjoy photography as a hobby or as a profession are willing to pay higher premiums for cameras that offer great value. Now, as an owner of an R5 and R6, I can speak directly to the quality of these cameras. They aren't cheap, but the prices are definitely worth the performance that these cameras do offer. DSLRs don't have the same level of perceived value anymore, which is why DSLR value and the volume were both down again in 2020, while mirrorless was up. Now, the last half of 2020 saw some positive signs that the market might be recovering. Now, of course, time will tell if this trend continues in 2021. Next, demand for Fujifilm GFX100s is higher than expected. Now, on Tuesday, Fujifilm announced that there will be delays in shipping the new GFX100s medium format camera for some of its customers. Now, the announcement came after demand for the camera exceeded expectations, so Fujifilm doesn't have enough supply to ship out all of its orders. Now, originally, the camera was set to ship in March, and for some customers, that seems to be still the case. But here's the tricky part. The number of pre-orders that can be fulfilled is really not known. This means even if you pre-ordered the camera, you might still have to wait to get your hands on it. Of course, Fujifilm hasn't really given a timeline when the delay of shipments might occur. So if you want to order one of these things, check the description below for a link to do so. All right, guys, those are the week's biggest news stories. Now, just as a reminder, our last giveaway has ended, so I'll be announcing the big winners and revealing our next set of prizes in the next episode of Photography Talk. All right, friend, there we go. Photography Talk episode 61. Now it's that time of the video where I'm going to ask you to do all that cool YouTube stuff that really does help the channel up. So if you found some value, if you were mildly entertained with this video, do me a favor, hit that like button down below. If you're currently not subscribed to the channel, well, you know what to do, and while you're at it, kick that bell to be notified each time that we come out with a new video. Friends, I was up at the mountain this week, got the little guy up there doing a little sledding, had an interesting time up there, but more on that in another video. But I have a garage full of snow gear that I need to put away, so I'm going to be jumping out of here. You get out there, enjoy your evening, stay healthy, and create your best shot.